we're on the solution. Let's go.
All right. So we have to first understand and realize that during the time of emancipation and the promises that were made to the native blacks who were emancipated from private hands to the hands of the federal government, we were promised certain things as far as the conditions of the emancipation. We were promised 40 acres, a mule to work the land of those 40 acres, also $100 to acquire the tools in which it took to work that land, as well as a stipend or subsidization or a subsidiary to be paid to us by the federal government until such land is in full production where we can sustain it ourselves. Right? All of these promises and concessions that were made in our favor as a result of the emancipation were never made, or never fulfilled, I should say. But we are at a time right now to where, change can happen.
Right.
We're in a very, very unique position, like we were during the civil rights movement of times past, the 50s and 60s.
Right.
And 70s, if you want to go there.
But if it doesn't happen, we're always in the same position.
Right. See, you have to understand, thank you for saying that. You have to understand one thing fundamentally. We can never have equality and true justice in this country, because if that were the case, America as it exists right now would cease to exist. Because this current paradigm and the paradigm in which this country was founded was based on our subjugation exclusively, and still is. White privilege exists because of black non-privilege. White supremacy exists solely because black inferiority exists. Okay? So, with respect to justice and equality being received in this country, that's something that can never happen. What we have to do is have a piece of America in which we own and control. And from the owning and the controlling of our respective piece of America, then dictates directly what we experience as equality and justice.
Right.
Because we own and control our own destiny. Right. So, as it pertains to native blacks right now, we do not want to be reparated according to the current financial paradigm in which we live right now, i.e. the Federal Reserve System. Right. We have to go back, because we are with all things being equal and the law being the ultimate law of the land, we are grandfathered. You understand, as far as the promise that America made to us, hence our emancipation. Right. So that means that anything that we are going to get has to be valued according to the financial paradigm in which it was created. Okay? So let's just take a look at how much did 40 acres of prime arable farmland cost back then. We can come up with a number. How much did 40 acres of land cost back then of arable prime farmland? Right? What was the value of $100 back then in a gold standard of financial paradigm? Right. Also, how much was that subsidy going to be on a monthly basis? Not only that, how long was that subsidy going to last for as far as duration of years?
Right.
Okay? Now, the value of all those things combined will become up according to the gold system that existed in those days, correct?
Right.
Now, let's take that dollar amount in gold, or the financial system of that time, and let's say that we were put on a deferment, and all of those things were cashed out in their respective values and put into a bank account, a savings account, at a 5% interest rate from the time of emancipation up until 2020. How much money would that be?
A lot. No idea.
How much money would that be? I mean, that can be debated,
Right.
but
since time of emancipation,
right,
it should be a lot.
Should be a lot of money. You know, at least a 5% interest rate annually for
So
the
now,
total.
what about all the African people who are listening to this right now saying this dude crazy?
Okay, tell me, by which means am I crazy?
Don't nobody believe we're going to get that.
No.
Don't nobody believe we're going to even be in that conversation anymore.
First of all, that means that you are not politically nor spiritually astute enough to know.
This is hanging over right here.
Get it. People have, if anybody asks that question, no matter who they are or what position in life they hold, they are participants in the subjugation of their own people, and they're not to be listened to anyway. Because we're talking about building our nation, not questioning whether or not we should have a nation, or what means that nation is to be built on. They have no say in that, and neither do I. I'm merely going according to the things that were already promised.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was which is what I like.
Right.
Because it was literally what we were promised.
Right. Period.
We're not making this up.
We're not making this up. We're not extrapolating what we think we want or think we need. These are the conditions that were set for us as a result of emancipation. Yeah. Now, there's an additional condition that I have to put on top of that will not only help for our freedom, but prevent our further subjugation by this tyrannical paradigm that we live in. From this point forward, as emancipation is concerned, we are to be totally tax exempt of not only state and local tax, but of federal tax as well. And on top of that, we are also to be refunded with interest on top of our reparation every cent that every one of us, as well as our ancestors, have paid into the taxation system of this country. And that's all I want.
That's all?
That's all that I want.
Man.
That's all that I want.
Yeah. But not in dollars. In U.S. currency?
It has to be in concert with land and dollars. But the dollar system, there has to be. See, but you have to understand one thing fundamentally. We're talking about being reparated from a time during the gold standard in American finance. So with all that being said, we do not want a Federal Reserve note, which is not a dollar, a fake created non-value finite currency. No. Why do we not want that? Because you can give us $100 trillion. If you inflate the currency, you are in control of the purchasing power of said money. And the whole idea and premise behind being reparated is to be in control of our own destiny so that we can form our own nation. So we cannot do that if we depend on the value of a currency that has no value or that you exclusively control, because that would automatically put us by default back into a system of subjugation. Okay? With all that being said, what needs to happen is, just like I said, we are going to be paid according to a gold standard. So what does that mean ultimately? What are the ramifications of what I'm saying? I'm saying this, that our nation that we're going to establish as a result of these conditions is we're going to create a brand new financial paradigm.
Right.
What does that mean about all other currencies on the world? They have to die. Because if we have a financial paradigm that is based on the gold standard, that instantly makes every other currency of the world worthless. Because we'd have a currency that's actually based in a natural resource, as opposed to the rest of the world working on the fractional reserve system, which creates currency and its value out of thin air.
I'm going to tell you this, though. The world is going forward.
Oh, yes.
You know, because gold is, I mean, where are you going to get all the gold?
The gold not only can it be mined from Africa, where all the gold is, but this is what you have to understand. All throughout the ages, not only in antiquity, my bro, up until the modern era, these Europeans have been not only mining and refining and storing and hiding away all of our gold. Mm-hmm. All the gold that needs to reparate us exists right now. Mm-hmm. It exists. I can support this with history. Once the Federal Reserve Act was put into law, the Federal Reserve, as well as the United States government, put into law something called the Gold Act. Mm-hmm. Do you know what that is? This is researchable. You can Google it. Do you know what the Gold Act did? Mm-hmm. The Gold Act not only made it illegal for the United States federal government to have gold bullion, it made it illegal for any corporation or private citizen within the United States to have gold bullion or own gold coin. So the Gold Act not only made it illegal, it made it where you had to turn in all of your gold bullion and turn in all of your gold coinage in exchange for the finite currency, and the United States Federal Reserve has taken all of that gold and put it in its...
I'd never turned mine in.
You know what I'm... But yeah.
I'd have kept some, melted it down, made a chain or something.
Right.
Just told
but we did not have that ability back then. We didn't have the ability to smelt.
We had any other gold anyway.
Right. No, we had gold.
Yeah.
And see, the reason that we had to turn it in, because all of that gold was considered United States currency, which was marked and accounted for. So they know who all had the gold. And if you did not turn it in, not only did you face criminal charges and federal crimes, you were also subject to jail as well as confiscation of your gold anyway.
New World Order.
Right. So, with that being said, everything that I have just said to you is achievable by the United States government.
Hold on, because here's the thing.
Okay.
Where are you going to put your gold at?
That's a very, very good question. One, no.
Yeah.
No.
On a mattress?
No.
Come on.
Listen to me. What I'm talking about is the building of nation. Mm-hmm. Correct? What is the number one fundamental thing in order to have a nation? You have to have land, correct? Mm-hmm. All right. The second thing fundamentally to have a nation, you have to have a financial system and a currency, correct?
Right.
In order to have a financial system and a currency, you have to have banking systems in place, not only to hold, but to distribute your financial system. Okay. So that means that along with the building of our nation, we will be building financial institutions. Mm-hmm. That's part of building nation. Any other questions?
How about but you can't forget about Bitcoin, and they're trying to cryptocurrency.
That is a finite currency.
But they're gonna use it.
No,
it's here. It's on your income tax.
That has nothing to do with us. That has nothing to do with us. We have nothing. Bitcoin is a digital currency. Yeah. That is not tangible. We're talking about tangibility, my boy.
I mean, I can take that.
No mustache this time.
You don't want
no stash. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
All right,
you have to know.
You
have to stop. That's the problem. No, it does, because you're thinking. when you think about something, what does that mean? What are you saying fundamentally? That you don't know, correct? Stop thinking.
I tell you this, there's gonna be a big fight right there.
No, it's not.
Why not?
This is undeniable. It is unequivocal. And like I was telling you previously on the recording that we lost, any people in human history who have gained freedom and independence, it was not given to them by the government in which they wanted independence from. Guess what happened? They took it through revolution. And see, revolution, a lot of people have misconceptions and their own definitions on what they think revolution is.
Right.
We can wage a revolution here in the United States, us at native blacks. We can wage a revolution that will change this country without firing one shot, throwing one punch, or having one riot.
How you do that?
By not participating anymore.
No participation?
No participation.
In the election?
No.
In everything?
In everything.
But the election is part of it.
The election is part of it.
Come on now. I'm with you.
You hear what I'm saying to you?
I'm with you.
We make preparation because we're going to have, in order, okay, I told you about one of the most fundamental laws that exist in our universe right now. And that is the law of equivalent exchange. And what does the law of equivalent exchange say? The law of equivalent exchange says this: in order to obtain something of equal value must be lost. Let me give you an example of that. In order to become a master barber, what is it that you must sacrifice in order to become a master barber?
1,528 hours.
Of time.
Time.
That you can never regain in order to become a master barber. You must, there's no other way to do it.
1,528.
1,528 hours
1,527, you ain't getting it.
Of applied time that has been logged and accounted for, correct?
That's right.
These are hours that you cannot, or time in your life that you cannot devote to anything else, nor can you get it back. Equivalent exchange. Right? If Africans, native blacks of America, whose ancestors were enslaved by the United States government, in order for us to reobtain what we lost, which was our land, our history, and our culture, and our blood, our sweat, our tears, as well as the lives of our ancestors, we must sacrifice one thing. What did we do in order for all that to happen? We participated. So if we participated in order for this paradigm to come into existence, what must we do to kill this paradigm? Unparticipate.
I love
It's
that.
very simple.
I love it.
It's very simple.
I love it.
It's very simple.
Wow.
It's very simple.
But most people
They don't think on that level.
They're thinking, our community is thinking, we need more.
No.
More participants.
Yeah, but
Vote or die.
But this
You ain't vote.
no. That's going according. That is still actively participating in your subjugation.
Wow.
You must make yourself a non-participant, and we must do this in mass, as a whole, all together.
All together.
We must, and in order for that to happen.
Oh, but your ancestors fought for your right to vote.
That's a lie. They fought falsely. They fought under an illusion. They fought under the premise. First of all, you have to understand one thing. The civil rights movement was to try to play to the sympathy of white supremacy. They have no sympathy. We're going to sit there and let them beat us up and not do nothing back to them, so they'll feel sorry and give us what it is we're supposed to have. That it doesn't work that way. That shit is dead. That's what the civil rights movement was. That's why we achieved nothing but the ability to annoy people that don't want to be around us.
That's so true.
That's what the civil rights movement was.
Man.
That's what the civil rights movement was. To force our presence into the presence of people who do not want us to be around. We did not ask for financial equality. We did not ask for ownership of land equality.
Damn.
All we asked for was to be able to eat lunch at the same counter and with a motherfucker who hate us. All we got out the civil rights movement was to be able to take a shit next to a motherfucker who don't want us around when they shit, and to go to school with a motherfucker who don't want to go to school with us. That's the only thing that was gained from the civil rights movement. And there is nobody who can argue that point with me.
The people who actually, I mean, there's people who've actually old enough to have maybe taken part of that.
Yes.
Is telling me that we fought for your right to vote.
No, you didn't.
We went through all
of
this.
You fought for our right to be an annoyance to the predominantly people that owns this country.
And I hear it all the time, is the fact that, you
didn't fight for my right to vote. My vote means nothing. So how you gonna fight for nothing? I explained that in the previous in the previous recording that was lost. Your vote does not count for anything, because we live in a system that is based on the electoral college system. And the electoral college system says that the electors, which are the United States senators that represent each state, have to vote their electoral votes in which their constituency is the majority. If you live in a state that has voted majoritively Republican, the elector is supposed to cast their electoral vote for their state for that particular party. Mm-hmm. But see, what people don't know is this. They are supposed to vote for their constituency, but there is no law that binds the elector who cast the electoral vote to vote in the way of their constituency. There is no penalty put in place if an elector votes against the constituency of their respective state. I did the research on this. Yeah. Do you know what the penalty is for an elector who votes against their state's constituency? It's just a $1,000 fine. It does not cost them their electoral status. It does not cost them their senatorial status. It does not void the vote, the false vote that they made. All it is a $1,000 fine and nothing after that. Let me make it plain to you as far as an instance where this happened in modern times, where it changed the course of how you vote and how your vote counts. In the year 2000, when there was a presidential race between Al Gore and George Bush Jr., the state that decided the presidency was the state of Florida, in which George Bush's brother was the elector who cast the vote for the Republican Party. They tried to make you think it was voter fraud. No. It was the fraudulent act of George Bush's brother to vote against the constituency of the motherfucking state of Florida. Now, that's researchable. Do your research. There is no political analyst or political historian who can dispute the things that I just said. There's no argument about what I just said. What I just stated to you was facts, which are stronger than argument, more dependable than opinion, supersedes predictions, silences all disputes, and facts in all arguments. Unless you're talking to a person who wants to act as if they don't understand the facts. And if they don't understand the facts, they don't need to be in the conversation to begin with. You see what I'm saying?
You're going to be lost.
You're lost. And you just talking to flap your gums.
Most of them.
Just to be fucking heard.
Most of them.
And at the same time, what you don't realize you're doing, you're hurting our people. Because you're giving them untruths.
People are so passionate They run off with the feeling first.
Right. It's called being wrong and strong.
They want to run off with the feeling.
With the feeling. And see, that's another thing fundamentally. If we are to advance as a people, and if we are to grow as a nation of people, we got to stop making decisions that are based on emotion.
Right.
Do you think that the European based their subjugation of the African people on emotion? Mm-hmm. No. It was about business. You cannot be prosperous if your emotions are always involved in your business dealings. You will not be in business. Let's just be real. Let's stop playing with ourselves. And let me say this as a condition of this forum that you and I are having. Anybody who feels that they have a counter what I'm saying, or feel that they can argue the points of anything that I can say, I invite you to an open debate. And but I warn you in advance, what you think will be a debate will be merely a session of school.
Stop sending me little side messages.
Stop playing with. Let's talk. Yeah, stop playing with yourself.
Let's have a real
because
conversation.
I'm going to tell you one thing and one thing only. I only debate with people whom are my peers. Everybody else I teach. Okay?
I like that.
That's it and that's all.
I like that.
I only debate with my peers. People who have put in the time and who can establish fact with me. Yeah. I don't work off of emotion. Yeah. I work based off of facts. If you come to me trying to debate me on how you feel about this particular subject matter, you're going to be in for a rude awakening, because the only thing it will not be a debate. You will be actively participating in a session of class.
So what they needed anyway.
Right. But don't subjugate yourself like that. Don't make yourself look stupid. It's immaterial. Because a lot of people think a lot of shit that do not make it true. A lot of Africans think that we live in a post-racial society, which is a lie. A lot of Africans think that Barack Obama did things for African people while he was in office. That's a lie. A lot of people think that kamalaharris is for black people, is going to institute change for black people. She doesn't have a track record that says that. So that is a lie. How are you going to be against the very institution that propagated the status of the man that you married?
Right.
That doesn't even make sense. So we as native blacks here in this country just have to stop operating on the premise of emotion. We have to stop believing into shit that feels good and shit that sounds good. What's the old saying? The proof is in the pudding. Kamala Harris does not have a track record that would prove to African people that she is for the uprising of black people. In actuality, through my investigation, when she was the district attorney as well as the state attorney general of the state of California, everything that she did was against African people. She was one of the they don't want to talk about that. She has one of the highest conviction rates of African people in the history of San Francisco.
Oh, San Francisco out of all places.
Right.
That's a cold piece of.
It's a cold piece of work. San Francisco is the model for the country as far as gentrification and status stratification in this world. Do you know how much the bottom line rent is to live in the city of San Francisco? The average median income of the African people, even around the country, is not enough to have residence in the city of San Francisco. Do you know the large majority of the African population in the city of San Francisco are homeless? Did you know that the vast majority of the African population in San Francisco are underemployed? Do you know that there are vast portions of...
That's the whole country.
Yes, but in San Francisco, yeah. It's on Front Street.
Oh, I believe it.
It's on Front Street. You got back alleys of industrial centers there in fucking San Francisco that every night are lined with cars of black families who cannot afford to live in a house or apartment, who are living out of their car. Their kids are going to school out of cars and working every day and still can't afford somewhere to live. Nothing is what it seems to be.
Right.
Nothing is what it seems to be. And if there's anybody who's listening to this who doubts anything that I say, this is what I'd like you to do. Contact us, post in the comments, tell me your argument, and I will have you live via video or in person, however you want to do it. And we can have a discussion about all these topics in which that I discussed, and all these truths, all these facts that I have discussed. And I need to preface this. You need to counter me with facts that are researchable, and we'll do the research during our debate or whatever you want to do. Because I say this, I don't claim this, I say this with all confidence and in all truth. What it will be is a teaching lesson. Because what you're going to come at me with is emotion, and what you think and what you feel is real. Everything that I've said is not based in emotion. I don't think anything. I don't feel anything that I said is true. These are all truths that are researchable and verifiable. And until you can come to me with truth and verifiable facts, I advise you to save yourself the embarrassment. Save yourself. Understand what I'm saying. If you want me to go more in depth into the things that I'm telling you to give you a bigger background, I'm more than happy to do that. But don't ever go against truth, because you will be cut down. And that's just a fact. And hopefully after that, you can come to a place within yourself to accept the truth, and that way we can come together and institute real change.
Stop participating in the freaking election.
Stop participating in this bogus government. Stop. This is another thing, though, as far as the solution that we were talking about. In order for the solution that I said, in order to work, as far as our non-participation in every aspect of this government, that means your job. That whether it be a city job, whether you work for a mom and pop store, whether you work for a hospital, whether you work for a TV network, whether you work as a teacher, a professor, or a motherfucking janitor, or even a garbage man. As a matter of fact, those are the people that I want to participate the most. Because what you will realize, and what you have to realize, is this. We are the wheels and the gears that makes this country go round and move forward. We are actively participating in our own subjugation. If you're a police officer, if you're a judge, if you are an emergency medical technician, if you're a doctor, if you're a nurse, if you are a customer service representative at McDonald's, you are still participating.
You're talking revolution.
Total revolution. But the revolution that I am talking about is a revolution that we can win without firing one shot. Okay. Without throwing one punch.
Wait a minute. Either way, man, I don't know why I fear we won't get the world on our side. I mean,
we have our
world.
This is the thing that you have to understand. The world is waiting on us. Okay. When we started protesting, did you see all those protests going on around the world?
I seen it.
The world is waiting on us.
But what about our world? Why we won't get the participation?
This is because we are under the illusion that we are American citizens. And what was lost in
elect something that's going to save us.
Right. No. See, and that's another thing, and my nigga Pharaoh spoke on this. We suffer here in America as Native blacks, or as African Americans, however you choose to call it. We have a Jesus complex. Yeah. That was trained and given to us through the means of Christianity. We think that we have to have one person be our savior. Martin Luther King was a sacrificial lamb. Malcolm X is a sacrificial lamb. History proves to humankind, not only Africans, is that when we have a savior, they have a special place for saviors in our paradigm, the motherfucking grave. Okay? In order to enact real change and to have a true revolution, we all must become Jesus. They can't kill us all. At least not at the same time.
Right.
We all have to be Jesus.
But then again, they wouldn't kill us all. They need us.
They need us.
Y'all need us.
So that's where my plan comes into place. Once we all realize that they need us, then we will realize that this country will not move without us. All it would take is 1 week. All of us holding in solidarity, not going to our respective jobs or careers, whatever we do. Whether you a rapper, 1 week. 1 week after the first day, you're going to have news flashes to where Donald Trump is asking to speak to whoever represents us to get things going back to where they need to be. Because it is our labor.
Please go back to work. Please.
Please. What is it that we can do to get you to go back to work? And that's when we have.
Then we got the window.
Then we have the. There it is. There it is.
Pull what we want.
There it is. See how simple that is? Now, let me lay the groundwork for that. We need to have an appointed time to when we're going to do that. Why do I say that? Because up until that time, we as a people need to plan our preparation to spend that week, or maybe it could take a month. We need to make ourselves ready with food, water, shelter, unity, gasoline, to continue about our daily lives and interactions with each other, but we are not dependent on this system to feed us for that duration of time to bring America under. Right.
Because we're actually flirting with that idea. I've seen, what's that big thing they did, Blackout Tuesday?
That
stupid stuff like
it's
that.
A demonstration.
Yeah, but
and
one day ain't gonna work.
No.
And then
you have to understand
then nobody did it.
Right, but this is the thing. Protest has its place in time. And a protest's main function is to make the world aware of what we're upset about. The world already knows. So the time for protest is over. This is the time for action, for planning and for action. And what I don't say that what I'm suggesting is the end all, the be all that will cause the ultimate solution. No, I'm not saying that. What am I saying? What I'm saying is this. What I am prescribing will lead to the solution and will lead to what it is that we need in order to get back to where we are supposed to be as a people, in the establishment of nation. It's about the establishment of nation and knowing our worth, because to what they portray to us is that we're worthless, and they make us worthless to each other. That's a game. That if we're worthless to each other and we have worthlessness in our mind, that makes us a gold mine for them.
I feel that way in our community.
That makes us a gold mine for them. Because we will never unite, and we will always put our efforts into supplementing the paradigm that already exists, which goes for their benefit. That's over. It's over. What I just said to you, and the plan that I just laid out to the people, is undeniable. Could nobody come up with anything that is more logical than what I just said? Or that makes more sense for us as a people than what I just said? Because having America merely cut us a check is going to be self-defeating. Why? For this one reason. And nobody can argue this point with me. They could promise us $1 trillion and print up $1 trillion for each motherfucking individual, every African that's descended from slavery in this country. And after everybody has, and they confirm that all checks have been cashed, they can inflate the currency and make $1 worth 1 penny, or make $1 worth 1/10 of a percentage of the worth of 1 cent. And what would that do? that would extinguish your financial and buying power, which would ultimately defeat your emancipation. Don't play with me. I've thought about this. I've done my research.